Hello everyone and welcome to Fun Fold Friday. I'm Dorene Decibus and I am from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and I'm really happy that you're able to join me this evening. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I started my video and then my husband was sitting across from me and he just made me really mess up just him sitting there. So thank you for being patient. So, thank you for joining me either tonight during the live video or on the replay or on my YouTube channel where it will be after tonight's session. I just want to remind you that I will be posting the dimensions and the score lines in the chat. So please don't feel you have to stop the video and write things down. I will have that all for you, and it will also be in the description on my YouTube channel. Tonight, we're going to be making a double-decker pop-out fun fold, and it's a fun fold that I learned how to do from Susan Campfield. She is a genius at creating fun folds, and this is my interpretation of her fun fold. So I am using, and I'll show you how it opens up, and can you see how it's a double-decker kind of fold with a pop-up right in there. So I'm going to be showing you how to make this particular card tonight. And I am going to be using the textured floral bundle in this presentation tonight. What I really like about this set is not only does it have great stamps, but it has a great die set. And the dies match the images from inside the stamp set. But then there's also these great other dies that you can stamp out a variety of floral images. And that's what I'm doing here on the front of the card. I have cut out already some of the floral images to make this window box and have put them on the front, and then I've also used one inside as well. Okay, let me put this aside so that we can start our work. We've got a lot of things. This is not, it won't take a long time to do, but there's a lot to do with this card. So again, let me just show you the card again, how it opens up and how it's a pop up in the middle and kind of has a double-decker effect. So please let me know where you're joining me from. Give me a shout out, say hello, and all that good stuff. So we are also using tonight the Nestled Essentials dies, and I'm using this to create my window box. And I will be using the Tinsel Gems 3-pack for the Misty Moonlight embellishments here. Okay, so let's go over what you need for cardstock. And we're going to be scoring 2 pieces, so I will go over the score lines in just a minute. So to start with, I'm using thick basic white cardstock. This is 8.5 by 5.5. And I am using, so let me go over these because I have a piece that is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this is going to be layered on a piece of cardstock that's just a little bigger than it. So this one is 4 by 3. And this is where we're going to be building the window box. You're going to need, I used Granny Apple Green for the leaves. You're going to need to cut out 2 of those. I used Misty Moonlight to cut out 1 of the floral boughs, and I used Boho Blue to cut out the other. And then you're going to need a piece to cut out that Nestled Essential dies. You're going to need 2 pieces of 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I emboss these using this stripes and splatters and embossing folders, and I use the stripe one. You're going to need another piece of basic white cardstock that measures 4.5 by 3 inches. This will be our inside layer. And then this is for our mechanism, this piece of Whisper White cardstock, and it measures 3 by 2 1/4, and we're going to be scoring this, so I'm going to just leave that out with the main cardstock. And then finally, I'm using the Countryside in floral paper. It has all of my favorite blues in it. So I picked out actually my favorite print. I'll bring it up a little closer so that you can see it. It just has a little tiny floral print on it, and I'm going to be using this for the inside of the card. Okay, so I have a little sheet. So let's talk about scoring. So I like to score with my scoring tool. So let me just get that out. And the first piece is going to be scored at 4 1/4, which is the middle of the card. It's where we normally would score it. And it's also going to be scored at 2 1/8 of an inch. And that is right here. So I'm going to set that aside. And then on our smaller piece of paper, we're going to be scoring on the 3-inch side. So I'm going to put that up against my top. And the first score mark, they're all going to be even because we're going to be making a square out of it. So we're going to start by scoring on 3/4 of an inch. So there's our 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to be scoring at 1 1/2 inches. And then we're going to be scoring at 2 1/4. So there we go with that. Let me just get this out of the way. And now that we've got everything ready, we are ready to begin. Oh my goodness, my computer is just acting up crazy. Hate it when that happens. All right, so I'm going to start by folding this piece in half, and I'm going to use my bone folder to give it a nice crisp edge. And then I am going to also score this piece, but it's going to open up. I want it to be very similar to a Z fold. All right, so that's going to be the fold of my card. And what I'm going to do first is just start putting my extra pieces of paper on this. My computer, seriously, is just, everything is jumping around on this screen. It's kind of funny in a sense. I like to have it up on the screen so that I can see that you are seeing what I'm seeing, but I don't think it's going to let me do that. So we're just going to continue moving forward. Okay, so I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of my designer series paper, and I'm going to make sure my print is the right side up, and I am going to make sure it's even as well. Try not to push down until I can check that. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 2 pieces of embossed paper to these 2 panels, so we'll be able to see it. Now, this is a pretty thick embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder. So I'm going to put the adhesive all the way around the edges, and I'm doing that because I find that when I use the 3D embossing folders, if I don't put some adhesive on an edge, it will sometimes pucker up, and I don't want that to happen in my card. So that's why I'm putting the adhesive around all 4 sides. I usually don't do that because we don't need that amount of adhesive to hold something down, but I want to in this case. And so I'm just going to center these on the panel. I'm going to try to have them in the same spot. So there we go. The basic part of our card is all done. So the next thing that I want to do is add my device that is going to pop up my second level. And so I'm going to just fold it in half, and then I'm going to fold each of these edges in half. And what I want to make sure is that when I fold these, that they don't overlap, and they look like they're going to overlap just a tad. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to just go back here. It's okay if this gets a little wrinkled as I'm doing this. It's more important for me to not have that overlapping. Okay, that's much better. And now when I fold this one in, I'm going to, oh, perfect, they're not overlapping now. All right, so this is my mechanism that's going to be going right into the center of here. So I'm going to close it where I have those two ends right there. And I'm going to add, because this is a mechanism that's going to be holding the card together, I'm going to use my tear and tape, because it is a really strong adhesive. Now, I could get by with just one piece of tear and tape. That would not, the card, I'm only using a piece of basic white cardstock to hold it. So, but I like putting two pieces on just for the extra support. Now, if you are going to use just one piece of sticky strip to attach yours, you're going to want to put those pieces of tear and tape where the fold is, not where the open is, because that will give it more support. So that is something I just want you to think about. And let me just grab my take a pick. Just helps me get those edges off. This is one of those cards that's not really hard to make, but it has a big wow impact. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to have this lined up, this score line here lined up with this score line here. I'm going to have these two pieces with the sticky strip, the tear and tape on the bottom, because that's where I'm going to be attaching it. So I'm going to line this up. I want this in about the middle of the card, but if it's not quite in the middle, that will be okay, because I can adjust where my piece cardstock is going to go. And so you can see right there we have our pop-up piece. And then the last thing I want to do is put some sticky strip right along here. So I'm just going to open this up and get my sticky strip ready. Again, I'm going to be putting two pieces. I really only need to put that one piece. Again, if I'm putting just one piece, I want to make sure that one piece is over here by the fold and not by the center of the card. I want it more at the fold. And I got a little extra tape there, so we'll just take that off. Okay, so now I'm ready to start putting together the rest of the card and to do my stamping. There's very little stamping on this card, so I'm just going to put this aside. It is going to be on my smaller piece here, and I'm going to be stamping my birthday greeting. And I'm going to be using Night of Navy ink. That is the color of the cardstock I'm using here. So I'm going to make sure that's inked up. I'm going to check it. And I am going to stamp this as high on this piece of paper as I can. There we go. And that's all I need the ink for. Now now I'm going to start making my little bouquet that I'm going to be putting under the inside the window box. So I'm going to take this and cut it down. I want my window box to be flat, not curved. And this measures about 2 inches. So I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch off. Let me just make sure it's straight so I don't end up with that fall. There we go. Looks pretty good. Just want to make sure it's nice and straight. Sticky fingers today. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's put this away. And I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back and I'll set it aside so it's ready when I need it. All right, so I'm going to start by putting my piece of greenery in the center. And my greenery is pretty long and it's going to cover up my greeting. So what I'm going to actually do is cut the bottom 2 leaves off. And then when I add this, I am going to place it as close to the greeting as I can. I'm going to use my liquid glue, and this is one of my favorite craft tools. You get it on Amazon, and it's just a device that I put my mono liquid glue in that has just an incredibly fine tip, and I can get these little tiny dots of glue so that I don't get a lot of glue and make a huge mess, but it's all going to stick down because you don't need a lot of the liquid glue. So I am going to place this at a little bit of an angle so the V of those leaves go right around the U. And then this particular bow is turning to the left, so I'm going to put it on the left side. I'm going to use the same glue. I'm not going to go all the way up to the top because some of this is going to not be touching paper, so I don't want glue on that. So this will go all the way to the bottom, and then I will have it so some of this is hanging off of the edge. And then with this piece, because I can turn it and have it go to the right, I'm going to have it go like this, and again have some of it sticking off. So again, I'm going to go more to the bottom half, and I'm just on the little leaves going to put some adhesive. It's okay to have some of it not stuck to the card. I like that look as well. And then I can put my vase or my window box right by it. And I have one little leaf that is coming out the side. So I'm just going to snip that one off. And there we go. We have our front all set to go. And I'm going to set this aside. Well, actually, I can put it on my piece of Night of Navy cardstock, but this is going to go on last. And I'll show you why. So there we go. We have that. So pretty. Now on the other piece of paper, the one thing I want to show you is that I want to be careful. When I put this on, I am going to be using part of it as a border around this piece. So what I need to think about that when I put this leaf inside. So what I'm going to be doing is putting this on the left side of the card. There'll still be room to write. So I'm going to use my mono glue again. When you talk to different people, everyone has a different type of adhesive that they use. And I actually like to use all of our adhesives. And I pick the adhesive that is best for the project that I'm working on. If you're looking for the least expensive option, then I definitely would go with the liquid glue. And it allows you to have some movement afterwards, which a lot of people like that as well. So I'm going to bring this down almost to the bottom. And there I have my piece for the inside of the card. Okay, so let's put this card together now. I am going to be removing the tear and tape backing. I am going to want this edge to go over. I want it to be centered in my card, and I want it to go right over to that edge. So I am just going to kind of eyeball this right now. That is pretty close. That looks good. So you can see what I meant by that you didn't have to really worry about if this mechanism in the center was actually centered. So now when I close it, you can't see my leaves or my vine that's in there. And now I can put this on. I'm only going to attach it on one side. So I'm going to add some tear and tape again because it's strong. This piece is going to probably be pulled on quite a bit. So I am just going to put a couple of pieces down to hold it in place. I think we'll go with 3 pieces. That should be more than enough. I'm going to use my tool again to just help me get those pieces, the backing off. And now when I put this on, I am again going to be centering it. I want this white to form a border. And then I can press down on that side to get it to be closed. And then I'm going to use my bling to put on the front of the card. So, such a sweet card. I'm going to use one of the larger ones and then 2 small. Up by the bee and the birthday. And then over here on. And that is tonight's Fun Fold. What a beautiful card and cool card. So remember, it's called a double-decker pop-up Fun Fold. It has the 2 decks, I guess you could say, on the front and the inside. I can think of lots of ways I am going to use this design in my stamping. How do you think you're going to use it? Let me know in the comments. And if you make a card, take a picture of it and put it in the comments. I'd love to see what you come up with. So again, thank you so much for supporting my business and watching my Fun Fold Friday video and joining me tonight. Make sure you say hello in the comments. And if you missed the live, the replay will be on my page and on my Facebook page. I'll be back Sunday night for Simply Stamping Sunday at 7 p.m. Next Friday, there will not be a Fun Fold Friday. Sorry about that. But my niece is getting married on Saturday, and we will be out of town for her wedding. And so I won't be available to do a Fun Fold Friday. So I will see you the Friday after that. Have a great week, everyone. Hope to see you Sunday. Bye-bye.